Today on Greatness Coaching and Therapy with Heidi M, we are discussing perfectionism. It's almost like a disease, eh? We try and have everything so perfect, and in the end we realize we don't live in a perfect world, eh? One of my mentors also always said to me, Jan, we don't live in a perfect world. He kept reminding me because I always wanted, especially when it comes to work, you always want stuff to be perfect and on time and all that kind of stuff. And it never works out the way you want it, Heidi. Hello again. Hello. How are you?
Hello. Yes, I am well, Jan. And you're right. And why does it never work? Because you are not perfect either. The world is not perfect. You are not perfect. And, I always get this image in my head of this tornado that is just ripping through the grass fields and this little man at the bottom trying to run through the tornado. Yeah. That's perfectionism for me. It's like, it's literally running into a tornado. You're not going to make it. It is futile, and you are wasting your precious energy on trying to achieve something that is not achievable. It's chasing the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It does not exist. You are not perfect, and the world is not perfect. And Ian, this is a very lonely thing to do. To be a perfectionist is a very lonely thing to do, because certain things we can possibly get almost perfect, right? Like I'm looking at the cushions on my couches in the living room now. And I'm looking, it's very neat. It's really neat. So what if somebody comes to visit me and they're looking at these neat cushions and they don't even want to sit down because it's not welcoming? Yeah. It's not, it makes people feel less than. If you're so amazingly almost perfect in everything that you do, it pushes people away, because nobody wants to be with this perfect person, in air quotes, because it makes me feel even less perfect than I know I am. Yeah. So that is the thing behind the perfectionism that to me is the saddest. And listen, you are talking to a recovering perfectionist here. And it's not easy to loosen that grip. A question that we have to ask ourselves, and we all know when we are chasing this elusive perfectionism dream, ask yourself, because you have to kind of figure out where this came from. Ask yourself, what was expected of me when I was a child, when I was young? What did my parents expect of me? What did my family expect of me? My teachers, and this is also an important one, my culture, my environment, my peeps. What did they expect of me? And be objective and don't judge. Look at it from really an objective point of view without any judgment, because we're not here to judge people or to diss people, We're just checking this out from an objective point of view in order to try and make sense of it. Ask yourself, what was expected of me, and do I agree with what was expected of me? Am I in agreement that this was okay or perhaps not okay? And you will, I think in 90% of cases, find out, if you're looking at this objectively, that there was 10-1 a burden placed on you that was not necessarily conducive to you growing up in a balanced way. Often, perfectionists had burdens placed on them as children, which was not possible for them to carry. And then that leads to massive fear of failure. Perfectionism equals fear of failure. The next thing that could alleviate this a bit is when you are now looking at, for example, your presentation that you have to do at work, right? And you're now going over this thing for the 17th time, and it's now 80% perfect, or 85 or 90% perfect. Is it really worth your while to go over it another time or another 2 times in order to now get it 92% perfect? What is that 2% going to benefit you? Is it not perhaps better, because Ian, at school 80% is an A. At varsity, I know it's 75 is an A. But an A is an A. Nobody is going to ask you how much of a percentage was your A. So you're never going to get the chance to show people or to tell people that this job is a 95% job. Why can it not then just be an 80% job? It's still an A. And instead of you pushing and pushing for that last 2%, 5%, 10% to make it even better, call it quits. Go to bed instead of working the whole night preparing things or slaving away or tweaking and tweaking and tweaking to death. Release the knot in your stomach. Take a deep breath and just relax into it. Perfectionists really bad job. If you, who is a perfectionist, will do a really bad job, it's usually the standard of somebody else's really good job. So keep that in mind as well. Your standards are so high that relaxing them a little bit will literally just normalize and equalize things. So see it from that perspective. Go over the presentation or the task 3 times then if you have to, but give yourself a cutoff, Tell yourself, 10 o'clock, I'm stopping, whether I'm done or not. Tell yourself, I've gone over this 3 times. If there's still something wrong, so be it. Speak to yourself. Speak out loud to yourself. The idea is not to drop your standards. The idea is not to make you do bad work. The idea is not to become part of all of the hamsters running in the wheels going nowhere. The idea is just balance. Just aim for balance. Use, again, a good dose of logic, right? So find that space in your gut, in your brain, in your mind that is helping you with balance. Because and this is my final thought on it, and I always think about my life and my recovery in this way. If I have an amazing car and 4 amazing tires and mags, and it's just looking great, and I'm working extremely hard at getting 2 or 3 of those tires. They are so beautiful and they polished and all good and well, but I neglected the one. The whole car is not going to drive well, right? If you are hurting a zebra on a white stripe, the whole zebra is in pain. If you're hurting it on the black stripe, the whole zebra is. So, you have to have balance. You cannot, and when you are so focused on doing one thing perfectly, you can know that there is something in the background that is being neglected. So find the balance.
Heidi, it's so true. And you know what? I've been thinking now as you talking. There's a false sense of perfect also being created on social media nowadays. And I refer especially to Instagram and TikTok. You know, everybody is looking super, super hot. And it's with the help of filters and all kinds of tricks. And we try to look like that, but they don't even look like that, you know?
That's it. They don't even look like that. And that's another thing, you know, that's where I say the balance comes in. If you're obsessively going to try to look like that, you know, even if you try not obsessively, but you just try a little bit and you get yourself some filters and you film yourself, you'll see what hard work it is to look perfect. And then you can see, okay, great. So they are putting in all this work. Nobody in this day and age can think that anybody just looks the way they do when they post themselves.
Exactly.
But that it is an illusion. It is an illusion, and it's very prevalent on social media, and it is flooding our brains. And I think that's where we have to help our children to, from a very young age, to understand this thing, that all is not as it seems.
Exactly. And if there's a show that taught us that, it is Desperate Housewives, where everything looks perfect and the white picket fences. Meanwhile, dirty laundry and all that kind of stuff.
Dirty laundry, rotten to the core sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Right, that's it. And you know what? Objective view of yourself. Have your people, have your support structures, or even if it's just that one friend or that one family member that can say, hang on, look at this objectively. Hang on a minute. Right. So try and don't become isolated and alone. It's not a nice feeling. And you and I both know what that can be like, you know, slaving away, so incredibly focused on this one aspect that has to be right. It has to be right. It's not healthy for us. Relax. There's literally, if you just stop for a second, you'll feel that knot in your stomach, and you just tell yourself, relax your stomach. Take a deep breath. Step away from this task just for a moment. Have a cup of coffee and think about it. Do you really, are you going to win if you carry on further? How is this going to benefit you? It's being real with oneself, right?
Yeah, exactly. And stop being so hard on yourself, eh? And I'm talking to myself now as well.
Yes, absolutely. No, you're completely correct. 100%, Eon.
Heidi, thank you so much. This was very, very helpful today, as always. How do we get in touch with you, Heidi?
I'm on Facebook, Heidi M. Wellness, or you can pop me a WhatsApp on 079-815-6305.
And we'll post those details also just below the podcast on our website. Heidi, thank you, as always. It was great talking to you, and looking forward to the next time.
Thank you, darling. I'll see you next week then.